Let's take a look at our file system on Windows. And you'll have to adjust this to your particular version of Windows. You see down here I have a folder icon. You may or may not have that. You click the Start button. Then you see there's a computer here. But somewhere you'll find something that looks like a folder or says computer. Now if I click computer, it'll go to a certain location. If I click this, it'll go to a location. Really doesn't matter where it goes to in your file system when it comes up here. Now if I hold down my Alt key, ALT, then it'll pop up with the menu up here. And under View, you'll see different options. We'll talk more about those. If you see Tools, there'll be different options here. We're specifically going to look at folder options. And then Edit, there's some copy and paste features and so forth. And not a whole lot under File that we're going to work with. A lot of that we'll right-click and use. Okay. Now let's go to Tools, Folder Options. And this gives you different ways you can have it look. If I click View, then you see down here it will have a hide extensions for known file types. A lot of times that's selected. And then what happens then is when you got files, you don't know what type they are. So I'm going to do my Alt key, ALT again. And I'm going to choose my Tools, Folder Options, choose View. And as hide extensions for known file types, I'll check that and then click OK. Now you only have to do that one time unless you get a new computer. Okay, now I'm going to go to my C drive. Over here you see different options. You could also double click the C drive here. And you see an option here for new folder. You could also right click over here in a white space and choose new folder. And testing. Okay, give some kind of name there, press enter. Now if I double click this, that's how you can open up a folder. You could probably also right click on it and there'd be an option to open it. Now when I'm here, if I do a right click, you see different options that come up. And you could choose new and you could create a file. You won't have the same options as me, so if you're looking at yours and say, why don't I have this Casio ClassPad? Well, this is specific to what you've installed on your computer. You should have a text document on here, though. If I choose text document, and I call this journal, and then press enter. Notice that it puts a .txt on the end, and over here it says text document. This extension on the end is what tells Windows what type of file it is. So that's why this is a text document. Now we can store different items in this folder. You probably, this is a good technique for this year, is to create separate folders for your individual classes, and then you can put the individual documents in that folder if you create documents. Worst thing you can do is put everything into one folder, because then when you're trying to find something, it's very difficult. So there's different ways you can do that. Of course, it's also difficult if you have 500 folders, thinking I'm going to be really organized, and you're trying to find your file. Okay, now if I do my Alt key, ALT again, then you see it brings up different options here. You see there's a view extra large icons, so you can get a preview of what's in the file. You see right here that there's an open new folder. This may not be on your version of Windows, but all version of Windows have these options here. You can choose large icons. Over here, you can do this drop down, and you can choose whichever one you want. Personally, I like details. Details gives me the information I'm usually looking for. Like, oftentimes I know when did I create it, and here I can see the date modified. And if I have more than one file, I can even click the date modified, and it'll sort it by that. Over here, there's a preview pane. My preview pane isn't coming up. Maybe because I have to be one of these other options. Let me see. That's interesting. I don't use a preview pane. But it's supposed to give you a preview of what's in a file. And it could be because there's nothing in this file. Let me double click it. When you double click it, it takes in, recognizes this is a text document and notepads associated with it. Okay. Day 1. Read the material. Did the exercises. Okay. Let's do a file save. I'll save it. Ah, that is true. Preview is over there. I just couldn't see it. Now, if you put your mouse over here and hold down your left mouse button, then you can make it a little bit larger. I don't use a preview pane, but that's what it's used for. You can right-click on this file. Now, don't right-click on the white space. It'll bring up a menu that's specific to whatever you right-click on. So if I got up the file here, if I right-click on it, when I say right-click, I'm talking about on your mouse. You have two buttons. You have a left button and a right button. And you'll have different options than I have here, so don't stress about that. But see, there's a delete, there's a rename, there's a copy. If I copy that, and then I right-click in here and I choose paste, it'll create another file. And I could rename this. I could right-click on it and choose rename, and call it Journal 2. When you copy, like when I right-click on this and I choose copy, it puts the you can think of it as a file, but it's not exactly a file. It puts the file on something called the clipboard, and then you can paste it somewhere else. So I could go to a different folder even. I could right-click and paste it here, or if I did a new, I could have a different folder here. And if I right-click here, you see there's a paste. So I could put it underneath that. Let's see what else there is. Right-click on that. We talked about the copy and paste. Cut is where you remove it. So it cuts it, removes it, and then you can paste it wherever you want. This is sometimes dangerous. I've cut files before and went to paste it somewhere else, and for whatever reason I couldn't paste it, and then the file gets lost. I would recommend doing a copy and then go back and delete your original file. Don't do the shortcut. I've seen that mess up online students before. But anyway, stick with cut, copy, delete, and rename. Open with, you can open with a different application if you want. But that's an introduction to the basic file system in Windows. And this is what you'll use in some cases to upload files, to create files, so forth.